Bosh, we are in. Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the Be Lucky Live on Monday morning, or Monday afternoon, I should say. This is the show that will talk you through the big talking points from the weekend. We will have no holds barred when we're talking about the drama at the Arc, the weekend's best and worst rides, jockeys called out, and horses to never back again. This is the show where you can have your say on the weekend's bad, good, ugly, and damn right costly. So whatever you want to say, however you want to get involved, please do use your buttons throughout the show. If there's any topics you want to jump in and discuss and you want to put into the group, really, basically, if you want to get involved and have your say, please do. Do it early. Do it early. Right, our first segment of this show, we're going to talk about the best and the worst performances of the weekend. If you've got a better one than me, like I say, do jump in. I'm going to kick off with a positive performance, right? A positive performance on the weekend. And I really was impressed by Diamond Necklace over at Paddy Longchamp. I think this is a really nice filly for Aidan O'Brien and well worthy of now 1,000 guineas favouritism. Around 7 or 8 to 1, and I'll be honest with you, I couldn't put you off. I think she is very, very smart. It was all hands and heels at Longchamp, and there's loads more to come from her. Can't wait to see her get a slight tap of the stick, and I think she is a really, really smart horse in the making. Really looking forward to seeing her coming back as a 3-year-old next year. Now, the disappointing performance of the weekend for me was my nap on Saturday. Volterra at Redcar. My God, this was a poor run. I expected, along with the market, that actually smashed him up. The punters smashed him up into 8 to 11. I actually really thought that he was going to... I really thought he was just going to piss up in that race, to be honest with you. And he didn't. It was a really poor performance. I think the one thing that I was concerned about immediately was Shane Gray looking across the field, left to right, either looking for something to give him a lead into the race, right, or not knowing how to ride the track. He's ridden there 254 times. And he's only got a 7% stroke rate. He's only had 18 winners, I believe. But I'm thinking, you're on the best horse in the race, mate. You know what price you are. Get over to that rail early. There's only one way to ride Redcar. Get over to that rail early and try and make all the running, rather than sitting around waiting to see what others are going to do. Didn't like that. I thought it was a bit of a lack of confidence. It's a bit of pocket talk for myself. We're starting to show off a bit of pocket talk on Volterra, but my God, I just want to see confidence in my jockeys, do you know? I do just want to see confidence in my jockeys. And we'll talk about a few jockeys in the next couple of segments here. A comment from Colm, one of our members. Barnavana in the Prix de l'Opera was very impressive. The step up in grade over a short period of time. Great for the trainer who's been battling health problems. And her own last couple of years. Great scenes. Yeah, Barnavara was really quite impressive. Really made all. Very much a track to be on the front end, right, at Paddy Longchamp. I do think that horse was probably slightly flattered a little bit, but a nice performance nonetheless. Carl says, my horse to take out from this weekend is Lion, and Ralph Beckett trains 2-year-old that won a maiden at Newmarket. Beautifully bred sire, Wootton Bassett, damn sire Galileo. Definitely a horse to put in your tracker. So there's definitely a couple of horses there worth following for sure. Diamond Necklace is the one that I'd be keen to get his name. I think she's a really, really nice horse going forward. Okay, let's get stuck into this then, okay? The ride room, we'll call this. The best and the worst rides of the weekend, and step forward, Jamie Spencer. You naughty, naughty boy. The Group 3 Bengoa Stakes at the weekend was frustrating for us as for my members who were on Apollo 1 who didn't quite get there, and I'm sure, in fact, I am bloody certain that Paul Mulrennan will get his fair share of airtime in this programme as we go forward. But he's not the talking point here. It's actually Jamie Spencer, who went for a gap that was not there on Pride of India. And on Prince of India, sorry. And my God, Jamie, last few weeks we saw some carnage with Oshie Murphy right at Ascot, where, you know, it was dramatic stuff. There were horses coming down and whatnot, and you know, you're thinking, Jesus, lads, come on, just ride your races, right? And you know what you're going to get with Jamie Spencer, right? You know he's going to be a hold-up ride. You know he's going to have to wait for the gaps, but there was no gap here. And if I was Marco Gianni on Quinault, he basically came in the back of him and sideswiped him. If I was Marco Gianni, I'd have been giving him a right mouthful after the race. I can tell you that much now. But Prince of India is a lovely improving horse, and I'd happily put a line through that for him next time. I think he's one that we can definitely keep on side. But dangerous stuff there from Jamie Spencer, in my opinion. The gap definitely wasn't there. It's a little bit of a tough one, right? Because as a punter, if you've backed him, you're thinking, barge your way through. But the reality is we don't want anything to be detrimental to the horse welfare, right? And this could have been very, very nasty. It wasn't picked up by any mainstream media. And that was disappointing, really, that they didn't pick this up, because I thought this was a dangerous bit of riding. If we don't call these sort of things out and they keep getting away with this sort of riding, it's going to be, there's going to be injuries or whatnot, even worse. So, Jamie, you're a naughty, naughty boy this week. But the punter's angle here is the Prince of India is one to follow going forward. Just put a line through that at Ascot. Next one we're going to talk about is Oisin Murphy. Oisin Murphy as a whole, Bay City roller. Over in Paris. Now, there's been flashes of brilliance from Oisin Murphy over the last few weeks, right? Been absolutely fantastic. But I've also seen flashes of Frankie Dettori, a bit Frankie-esque, the way he's not riding out his finishes. Now, Bay City Roller, if you'd watched this horse, he got after him, and then the horse decided to hit a flat spot and picked up again. But by the time the horse picked up again, Oisin Murphy had given up a little bit, to be honest, and was putting his stick down. And for me, if I was on Bay City Roller who finished second, I'd have been fuming that he wasn't really asked to ride out to the finish, or we didn't really ride him out to the finish. That would have really, really pissed me off, if I'm being honest with you. But a bit Frankie Dettori-esque. Remember when Frankie Dettori wasn't riding right out of the finish once his winning chance had gone? Do you remember everyone was saying, don't back Frankie each way? It's getting a little bit like that with Oisin Murphy. I'm happy to throw William Buick in there as well on that regard, because it does bug me. I don't know about you, if anyone's got any opinions here. Don't know about you, but it really does bug me when these jockeys are not riding out fully to the finish. And that's just a no-no as a punter. You got to keep an eye on these sort of things. So for the time being, in terms of Oisin Murphy and backing him each way, I'd be very, very careful if you're considering doing that. Talking about not riding out in the finish, step forward, the number one villain of the week, Harry Skelton. Harry Skelton in a maiden hurdle Uttoxeter at 2:15 at the weekend. Fortune de Mer cruised up, had to make a bit of ground up from the rear of the field, cruised up, jumps the final hurdle on the bit. He is sitting there swinging. It looks like he's sitting there swinging. I don't know how much horse he had underneath him, but it looked like he was sitting there swinging. His two rivals were all out to the max. Did he pick up his stick? Did he heck? And I love Harry Skelton. I'm a big fan of Harry. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a brilliant jockey. But my golly gosh, you have to be riding these horses out to the finish. Otherwise, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? Oh, Bernard says, agree, quick. Safi is always try and finishes 4th and 5th in big handicaps so often. Very, very true. There are certain riders that will just really they ride to the rules, right? We're riding out at a finish. But this ride on Fortune de Mer. Now, Harry might come out and say, I had to make up a lot of ground from the rear of the field, and I had nothing left after jumping the last, and I didn't want to be too hard on her. Totally see that. Can totally see that. I'd have no problem with that being an excuse, but it's just not a good look, is it? It's not a good look for people when he's not riding to full effect. That horse has not been ridden to place to the best possible placings. And for me, that was a concern. I'll tell you what was more of a concern was his ride later on in the day on Country Mile for the same owners in a 3-runner beginner's chase, where again he didn't pick up the stick. Now it just might be a coincidence that they are the same owner, owned by the same guy, in the same colours, but both of those horses looked like they were being prepped for another day. And we don't want to see schooling in public. We want to see horse racing. And the fact that Fortune de Mer was 6-5 in the market will just tell you, We'll just tell you the frustration a lot of punters will have over that particular ride. The Skeltons are at it again. I think this should be looked at a little bit more seriously, in all honesty. As has been in touch, Sean Bowen, you 90% of the time get at least a ride out, even stays on for third or fourth from the back of the TV sometimes. Yes, absolutely. Whilst we do criticise jockeys, we do have to obviously be pretty positive about some other jockeys. Like Sean Bowen, absolutely gives his all. Leaves literally everything on the track for you. And as a punter, I love that. All right, I love that ride. when he's all out max. Look, even if he's not getting there, even if he's made a slight mistake, gotten in too close to a fence at the second last or something, at least you know you're getting maximum effect out of your jockey, right? That wasn't the case, unfortunately, at the weekend with the Skeltons. Okay, in other news, passport drama at Arc weekend. Passport drama as Fora nearly denied a run in the Abbey due to a missing passport. They had to send an Uber driver back. 52 minutes it took to go back to Chantilly and come back with the passport. Got there just in the nick of time, I think about 90 seconds before Asfora was going to be due to be a non-runner, before she goes and wins the Abbey. What a guy. What a guy that Uber driver is. Apparently, Mamadou and the Uber driver and his friends can get anyone a passport, so now they've been hired by the British government to clear up the immigration this side of the channel. Sorry, that was really in poor taste, but it's true. What a guy. You can go and pick up a passport just like... Okay, let's move on to the next segment, guys. It is never back them again. Never back them again. Now, I want to start this with Mark, who has been in touch, because this was a brilliant comment from one of the members at Mark, who said, I would never back Pura Sangue again. Why do I get sucked into this horse every time? Because it's Balding's, the only reason why I back it. Named after a Ferrari, couldn't beat me, and I'm an overweight ginger. And that's not me saying that about myself. That is Mark. That is Mark's own comments about himself. But it can get frustrating when you get pulled in to these horses time and time again, right? It can be. We've all been there. We've all got these cliff horses. We'll keep this as a segment every single week because I think this is good bit of fun. But for me, Hamish, whatever you want to call him, he was cursed by the Bloggers Double and the dreaded Denise Super Boost at the weekend. But he's a horse that is classy but clearly declining. Hamish been a brilliant servant. I think he's won just under 50% of his races now, or 50% before Saturday, and was well put in his place by Al Kareem, who made all at Ascot. And Hamish just looks to me like he's a horse that is done. You've got to remember this horse runs on heavy ground, or has been favoured by heavy ground throughout his career. He's 9 years old now, and I think time is come on Hamish's winning career. Personally, Kurdos is very much in the same boat. Won at Ascot, went to Ascot at the weekend, had ground in his favour. Just looks gone at the top level. Just looks to lack pace for 5. Can't stay 6. Getting older these days. Just another horse I would never back again. And finally, Tommy's Oscar, the grand old boy. Do you know what? I love it because people go, what a great old boy Tommy's Oscar is. Finishing 3rd. Fuck Tommy's Oscar. I want to be winning money on horses, right? And Tommy's Oscar might be a grand old boy, but he's handicapped out of it now, right? He's rated 148. The handicapper has not relented for a while. He was at Kelso where he's favoured Kelso. There's just not enough oomph in Tommy's Oscar's performances anymore, and he's going to be finding that division far too hot with some improvers in the fields that he contests. Has anybody got any horses they would not back again other than Mark's brilliant and comment of the week, I should say, from Mark? If anyone's got any comments about horses they would never back again, please do highlight the fact that you want to get involved by phoning in. Okay, let's move on to the next segment. If no one's got anything they want to chime in with, any calls in are going to be put forefront for this show going forward. The big race breakdown, the Arc, was this weekend. Christophe Simenon was done on the line by Daryl, having kicked too early or not too early on Mini Hawk. Now, a lot of people are going to say, he couldn't have done no more. Now, I'll tell you what annoys me when you get a new jockey on a horse, is if they don't do their homework. Now, if you go back and you watch Mini Hawk's previous runs at Chester, York last time, you'll see that Mini Hawk doesn't do an awful lot when she's in front. Ryan Moore knows that about her. Doesn't do an awful lot when he hits the front. Now, maybe there wasn't something to carry Mini Hawk into the race any further than they did, but I do think that Christophe Simenon did go too early. That's my opinion. I'm probably pocket talking a little bit there, but I do think he went too early. Don't get me wrong, Christophe Simenon was brilliant all weekend. I thought he got Puerto Rico spot on. I thought he rode Diamond Necklace very, very well, but I do think that he kicked too early on Mini Hawk. And it's easy to say because he's narrowly been beaten ahead. It's easy to say that he's gave it a perfect ride, just bumped into one on the day, but I'm telling you now, she only does enough when she's in front. And I think you can see that in the final, like sort of 30 yards, 40 yards, when Doris comes up besides and she sticks her head back down and she battles again. I think she still had more to give. Take nothing away from the winner. He improved stepping up in trip. But Christophe Soumillon, I do think you kicked a little bit too early on Mini Hawk. The draw proved crucial again in the arc, didn't it? Winning stalls 2, 1, 3, 5 filled the first 4 spots. Byzantine Dream did the best of those from a high draw out in stall 15. I thought it was a really nice race from Byzant Dream. Unlucky for the Japanese contingent. I'm sure they'll be back with another decent arc prospect next year. But ultimately, you've got to be drawn well to win an arc. And all weekend we saw at Paris Longchamp that you really do want to be sort of on the pace. It's very difficult to come from off the pace. I think you can mark up certain horses over the course of the weekend. The likes of More Thunder, William Haggis's being one of those. But you have to be on the pace at Paris Longchamp. And everybody tried to do so early doors. You need that early gate speed. You need to be able to settle, strong travel. You need to be able to kick on. I think Christophe Soumillon, on reflection, probably got it almost spot on, but I just think he went that little bit too early for me. Okay, guys, I want to throw it wide open now. It's wide open for you to come and discuss whatever you want to talk about. What irked you at the weekend? What was really positive at the weekend? If anybody's got anything that they want to speak about, now is your time before we wrap the show up. It's a short, sharp show this first week that will only improve with your input going forward. Your arc tip ran a cracker, 50s as well. Bosh! Cheers, Bernard. Yes, I thought it ran a cracker. Giavolotto, again, probably just didn't quite have the pace to really, maintain the sort of early pace and ultimately probably does one on mile 6, really, doesn't he? But I thought he ran really, really nicely. Brilliant run. Okay, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap this show up, shall we? Pride of India is the horse this week that I think won for your notebook to keep on side. Obviously, we spoke about that Jamie Spencer incident. I think he was coming there full of running Pride of India, Prince of India. What we got coming up next week is Chepstow, start of the jump season. Come on! The Be Lucky Weekend show will be out on Thursday looking at the weekend's action at York, Newmarket and Chepstow and much more. Thanks for playing a part in this pilot episode, and we'll be back next Monday. If you want to come and take a look at Daryl Carter Racing and all we have to offer, then just head to the website www.patreon.com/Daryl Carter Racing. Until next time, everybody, be lucky.